5 years and still talking. This is GabNet, the Great American Broadcast Network. Talk like you've never heard it before.
Getting the show on tonight because somehow it wouldn't go over to TuneIn or YouTube and put the show on. It just wouldn't go, and finally I got it going, but it took a while. And the reason, I don't know what the reason is, but all I know is I bought a new piece of little equipment today. One of the reasons you heard me on the air like canceling it is I ordered up on this thing because this one's small and I liked what it did, and it's really fucked. It's called the Stream Deck. You see that? And you're supposed to be able to program into it all these things, okay? And it wouldn't do it, okay? And it did it, and it did it fine. And then when I unplugged it, it reverted to other stuff. It just doesn't hold the thing, the configuration. See what I can do with this thing. Let me see here if I can do it and not take myself off the air in doing it. But let's say here if I want to configure this, okay. There it's got a thing that says record. I don't want that, so let's delete it, okay. But let's say I want to have a scene, okay. And I want the what do you call it? The picture that we have. Let me see here. Well, wait a minute. Hold. Please launch game capture. I don't want game capture. Hold on a second. OBS Studio. Okay, there we go. Let me get rid of that. Okay. This is a whole new thing. Anyway, I delete it. Okay. So now let's say I want to put in a source. Okay. So you see at the very end here, there's nothing. Okay. But now there is because I put in a source. And then I go down here and I say I want, say, the GabNet Anim. And I call it GabNet so that the key says GabNet on it. So you see the key now says GabNet on it. And if I push it, the GabNet logo should come up. Oh, but it doesn't. Oh boy. Let me see. Oh, scene. That's what I wanted. I'm sorry. I wanted the GabNet logo. Okay, so if I push this button, the GabNet logo should come up, but it doesn't. Well, what happened to the GabNet logo? It's there. I'm sure. What? The GabNet logo disappeared. Oh, I see what happened. Yeah, there we go. Okay, now let me push the button again. Oh, well, this piece of shit doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. Here's the camera. Okay. And I go here, and watch. This thing should go to GabNet logo, and it doesn't. Test. Let me see. I just put in test there. Okay, and then I push the button. There we go. See? And I push the button, and then let's say in another one of these, I put in my video. Okay, so I want that. Wait a minute. Hold on a second. Scene. Okay, scene. Okay, replace. Then here I want to go Alex's camera. Okay, so I pushed Alex's camera, and now if I push it, I should get my camera. See, now that's how it's supposed to work. See, it's supposed to be there and there. Okay, and all these things are supposed to work, But unfortunately, we're not broadcasting, or we weren't. We are now. Just one thing after another. So I ordered. I liked this thing when I came, and I said I bought the small one. I want the big one with all the stuff on, with about 15 things that I can do, and it was. And then as I was doing this, I unplugged this and I replugged it in, and then when I put this stuff up, it wouldn't come up with the current stuff, with all the stuff that I had already programmed into it. So I'm going to have to figure this thing out. Once I figure it out, but I should be able to, in this one, put in, let's see here, Ramble logo, and I go Ramble, just so I have it in the thing here. Okay, so then if I push this button, the Ramble logo should come up. There we go. See, and there's the other logo, and here's, and if I go here, and I do this, and I say Alex's camera, then this one should bring Alex's camera up. That's right. See how easy it is, all of that? Well, for some reason, it screwed up my my OBS, and it wasn't streaming. So that's, I need these problems like I need a hole in the head. But the reason I did this is because this program I use called OBS, I can use keyboard things to change the picture. See, I got the keyboard here, and if I want to go back to the GabNet logo, I just push this button, and there we go. Right? It's very simple. If I want to do a cut, I push that button. Now that should all work, right? Unfortunately, it doesn't. Okay? So that's the problem. It would be nice if it worked, but it doesn't work. And sometimes while I'm doing the show, these buttons don't work anymore, and so I'm having to click around and so on. So I heard about this thing, and I went, "Hey, that's not a bad idea. I'll get this thing, and then I can do a lot of the things with. And if it goes out, it doesn't matter because this will do it. So that's the problem with this thing. And let's go back to me here. There we go. Okay, see how easy that was? And all these other things change too. What is this? This is I'll over the weekend I'll figure it out, and I'll have it figured out before I die of cancer. Okay, all right. Anyway, you know what I didn't do? Oh boy. Well, I'll do it once I get a citizen panel going here, which I'll start up now. Wait a minute, hold on a second. And I got to go get my coffee because with all this, the coffee didn't go. But for some reason, it could have been YouTube. It could have been something with YouTube, and might not have had anything to do with this. But anyway, here we go. Let's put myself online. There we go, and we got the panels. And I also had this thing. It was really nice because I had it so it had different pictures. It had the Ramble logo in there, and it had the GabNet logo, and it had some other stuff, and then it didn't hold. It just didn't hold. Well, here comes Charles Wallace, ladies and gentlemen. Charlie is the first one in this evening, and since he had a spot on here last night, I'm sure that as soon as I get some video on him, he'll pop up in my as a picture on the thing. Will he? I don't know. Well, maybe he was. Where I think you were in another. No, were you in another spot? Oh, well, let's see here. Well, here comes Phil Meyer. Here comes Phil Meyer. All right. Let me see here. Here comes Phil Meyer. Let's see if he pops in. No, he doesn't pop in. Okay, so I've got to go here. And I will, here more. Bree is calling. Hold on a second, Bree. Everybody hold on now while I try and get people in here. All right, let me see here. First of all, Charles Wallace. Okay. There we go. Is he there? There he is. Okay. I figured, with everything else fucking up tonight, that was going to fuck up too. Here comes the scuba diver. Okay. He's in the second spot. In the third spot, we'll put in Bree. And let me see here. Bree. Okay. Come on, Bree. There we go. Of course, he's got a lot of light in back of him, so we can't see his face.
Hey, Bree, are you in witness protection?
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah, because you're backlit.
I'm an audio guy. I'm not a video lighting guy.
That's Kuala Lumpur behind us. Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you people talk with each other while I go get my coffee?
Don't you have an assistant to get you coffee?
No, but
Can't you just yell Marjorie coffee?
yeah, but
you know.
you can talk with
He's
each other.
probably asleep already.
It will take me a second.
Go and enjoy yourself.
Okay, well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Let me go get my coffee, okay, and I'll let you guys talk to each other, okay?
All right. Yeah. So, Bree, are you in a hotel or is this your apartment?
Yeah. No, I'm in a hotel. I have to do some apartment hunting this week. So that's sort of what I've been doing. It's kind of tough because there's just so many different variables, and my budget is not extremely high, but you're talking about for what we need about I'd say anywhere from $700 to $1,000 a month.
American?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then, but the newer high rises are going for $1,000, and they have the amenities and they're nice and modern, but you got to take an elevator, and it's a little bit further from my office, and they're I call them ant farms, and yeah. But if I get one of the homes, there's terrace linked homes. They don't have the shuttle bus, and they also the security. You're not quite sure. So
I was watching a thing on Dubai the other day, and this woman who was like a real estate agent or something, divorced, 50 years old, not bad looking. She and her children were living in a home in Dubai, and it was fairly out there. And I think she said she had to pay the whole year's rent at the time of rental.
Wow.
So, and it was
common.
some astronomical amount. It was like 40,000 or 90,000. It was extremely expensive. I don't remember the exact price, but what got me was she had to pay the whole thing up front. Now, it wasn't monthly.
Yeah, some of them do quarterly, and you can also split it in half. But yeah, you don't pay by the month in Dubai. That would be extremely rare.
How much? What do you mean you don't pay by the month? How often do you pay in Dubai?
It's usually once per year. You pay in advance once per year.
For your rent?
But depending on where you're at, the landlord might agree to split it into 2 checks or 4 checks. But you wouldn't go more. 4 checks would be very liberal, for
so
there.
you have to come up with a ton of money to get an apartment.
Yeah, but most of the time, the employer, pays that, and then you take it out of your paycheck during the year.
So where did you say you are now? Are you in Kuala Lumpur?
Yeah, I am.
Wow. Okay. Now, if you could just move your camera so you don't have the light in back of you, we could see your face. Oh, wow, that's nice. You got a pool and everything. Huh?
Yeah.
That's a pool.
Yeah, we got them now. Very nice.
Wow.
Yeah, well.
Can I come visit you?
I'm on this.
Can I come see you?
You've been talking about going on vacation,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, dear, guess where we're going? We're Kuala Lumpur. But it certainly looks to be very, very nice. So anyway,
Yeah, it's nice. thing about it is, this is supposed to be a 5-star hotel, but according to Dubai standards, it's like a 3.5, pushing a 4. It's definitely not a 5-star in my book.
Now,
Just so many little things, you know.
Yeah.
Dubai in this documentary I saw, they said that there was a hotel. It was more than 5 stars. It was like 7 or.
Yeah, the Burj Al Arab.
Is that
Yeah.
is that it? A 7-star, huh? And the
Yeah.
only one in the
Oh,
world.
it's unbelievable. You get your own butler when
Yeah.
you check
The
in.
butler.
Yeah.
You get a butler?
And all the like when you go into the bathroom, all the handles are made of gold, and like the bathtubs are gold, and unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do they have a problem? People don't steal the towels there; they steal the handles.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably make your money back.
So anyway, I'm sorry for the late start, but I always wanted an hour-and-a-half show anyway. And I bought a new bought a new
You in
device.
advance. I'm only here for maybe 30 minutes or so because I'm house hunting. So.
Okay. Well, anyway, so I bought this thing, and I said, okay, it's a great idea, and I hooked it up.
Is that a hardware switcher?
It's a hard switcher to switch, like if I want to go to, I just had this set up. So if I want to go to the Ramble logo, I just go boom, and then I push that. And if I want to go to me, I push that. But I don't have it set up right now to go to the panel, so I will have to do that in another way by pushing that. But the thing was, I got it
You're
all.
very pushy.
I got it all set up with different things and so on, and then I liked it so much, I decided to go order the one with 15 buttons. Yeah. I go on the air tonight, and I can't get YouTube going. And I don't know if it's this or whatever, and I pull this out, and YouTube still isn't going. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, YouTube starts going. I think it was something with YouTube. If I'm not.
When you were saying, is it something with YouTube, I checked YouTube to see if I could see something on YouTube. Now, it wasn't a broadcast. It was a recorded thing, but I was able to see it. I don't know if that makes a difference.
That's because it was recorded, but live goes through a different server.
Oh, okay.
So I think that there was something terribly wrong with there might have been something wrong with YouTube tonight, for all I know. It could be this thing, but I don't know how it could be this thing.
It was the Russians.
Because everything else was working and so on. So I have to. By the way, I want to thank Vernon. I had a nice chat with him earlier today, talking about the things I have to look forward to. Thank you very much, Vernon. It's really appreciated. And then Kevin wrote me a huge note. Let me see here if I can kind of just put it on the screen so that I can show people how much he cared. Okay, let me see here. Come on. Let me go somewhere else, and then I got to put this on the screen, 0, and then I put this on 1. And there we go. And let me see if that's okay now. No, I don't get it. Well, okay. Oh, I see what the problem.
Can you give it
there
its own square?
There we go. No, this is something I don't do that often. Is when I go to the screen. Okay, that's the screen. That's the whole letter that Kevin wrote me today about this, and so I thank Kevin for going to that trouble for doing that too. That was very nice. And Phil, of course, have talked with him. And, you people have been very nice and responsive to my situation. And while, all the words are nice, nothing, and it calms me down to a certain extent, it's just my nature. I said something, I think, to Kevin in writing him back. And I said, I think the thing that bothers me is this is something I have no control over. And I think that's what it's about, because years ago, I talked to the guy who wrote Swimming to Cambodia. What was his name? Anyway.
Pol Pot?
No. Swimming to Cambodia. His name was,
No, the person at breakfast this morning, the server was from Cambodia.
No, but that has nothing to do with swimming to Cambodia. It was a one-man show with, Spalding Gray. And I was interviewing Spalding Gray, and I said to him, I said, one thing I hate about traveling, because the book Swimming to Cambodia isn't about swimming to Cambodia. It's the title of the book. I said, I don't like to travel because every time I go to travel, the 2 days beforehand, I'm a complete and utter mess. Nobody even wants to be around me because I'm worrying about every aspect of the trip. And he said, you know why? I said, why? He says, you're a control freak. Yep. He said, you want to imagine everything that can go wrong with the scenario of this trip so that if it does happen, you say, see, I told you so. That
He must not travel. He must not travel a lot. I got it down to a science.
He traveled a lot. That's what the book was about, Phil.
Well, that's because he was swimming.
Sometimes there are people who know more than you do.
He was just swimming. If he took the bus, it would be a different story.
Anyway, the point I'm making is that he said what you're doing is you're a control freak and you're trying to control the situation by anticipating everything that could go wrong. So when I hit a situation like this, I anticipate everything that could go wrong. Every bad diagnosis, every diagnosis that's negative, already I've got this, so I've got an aggressive cancer that will kill me in a month. But it's because I have no control over this situation. And you're also putting your life in the hands of somebody else, and you don't know whether to trust that person or not. Like I'm going to see a different doctor this week, and I don't know. He may be great, but how do I know? I'm not even my doctor didn't know whether.
My Rolfer gave me the name this morning.
Tell him.
And then you did some research, and the guy turns out to be next to a convict.
Yeah, well, he had a problem.
Alex, this
he was a guest of Epstein.
What?
Somebody said something.
Well,
I was just saying that. Yeah, this gets down to this idea of, it's sort of epistemological in a way. Like, how do we know what we know, and how do we figure out what is real, what is true, and and how do we discern that? And you're absolutely right. Like, this is one of the biggest questions I have all the time. It's like, even in my own profession, I can tell you that I'm not always 100%. I have good days, I have bad days, and I cannot always be at my peak. I just can't, and thank God I'm not a surgeon. If I were, I guess I'd want Dr. Strange to be operating, because I don't know who can always be, at their tippy toppy best. And so I read a book by Daniel Pink called When, and he said that you have to get your surgeries in the morning, like between 10 and before lunch, something like that. And he had all these statistics that, the mistakes that are made occurred in the afternoons and evenings, et cetera, et cetera. So, what you're going through, it's one of those things. It's like, how do you figure it out? Now, you can use TripAdvisor on a hotel, for example, and you can read through, or if you're on Amazon, you can sort of use wisdom of the crowd. You can't really do that with doctors or dentists per se, because if anybody goes on there and says something real, they'll probably get sued.
Well, I mean, you go to these sites and they, you go, okay, I have this Dr. So-and-so, and reviews, okay? And so they go, okay, reviews. And then you go look at that. And they're all either really good, and maybe there's one bad one because the guy really hated what happened to him. But most of the time, it's like the doctor said to some friend, would you write up a nice review for me? So I don't know that those reviews are for real. I assume that what these people claim to be, they are. This guy I'm going to was back in 2008 for 5 straight years named one of the top urologists in New York by a thing that they do every year here in New York, which is rating doctors in I think it's like what, New York Magazine or something like that. And
Don't they pay to get in those?
Huh?
The bachelor doctors and bachelor lawyers. That they actually pay to get in those magazines.
Well,
The best of.
that's not what I'm. But that's not what I'm talking about here.
Well, yeah, the
in
best
that case,
of.
the New York Magazine picks every year top doctors, and there's a list of the top doctors. All right, and this guy was listed as one of the top docs. Okay, and for 5 straight years, a top urologist. But that was 2008. What's happened since? He
Got out of jail.
Yeah. What? Why was it for 5 straight years, and all of a sudden it wasn't happening anymore for him?
Couldn't practice in prison.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. I can tell you the answer to that.
Yeah.
And I mean, in my line of work, what you see is people will sort of turn on the afterburners up until they get to the position that they want. And then once they have the position they want, they can rest on their laurels. And so they try so hard to succeed that after a while you get burned out and you can't keep up the same level,
Yeah. Yeah. So, but nevertheless, I mean, he did get those appellations, and he's an assistant professor at Mount Sinai, and I mean,
only assistant.
Or associate professor or something. I don't know. But he has a nice he has a nice set of credentials. Okay, look at the credentials on that guy.
That's what we do until you get to full. I'm full, but some people stop at associate because going associate to full, you basically give up your life for some years.
Yeah,
that's what I had to do.
But so I mean, I assume this guy's good. My doctor said he was good, but then again, my doctor said the other guy was good, and he even uses him as his urologist. But he says, I don't know. I've never had any real urology problems, and so I don't know whether. And I said, is he any good? And he said, yeah, I don't know. He says, I don't know any good. Really, most urologists are crazy. He said, in the profession, they're the most looked upon, down upon of all the doctors out there. And I would imagine they would be, because I wouldn't choose as my profession a job where my main job is sticking my finger up people's asses.
You've seen one ass, you've seen them all.
Yeah.
And in the end, they're very protective of each other.
It's a dirty crack, but someone's got to clean it.
Yeah. But anyway, so I mean, I'm going to go to this new guy, and I'm going for a second opinion, but I'm going to tell him also I'm looking for somebody to replace the doctor I've got because I just don't trust him. He was okay when there was nothing wrong. Now, if there's something maybe wrong, I'd like to have some professionals involved, and not.
And then you have to hope that the people that you ask are not somehow connected to him.
Well, if they're connected to him, then fuck them. I'll find out soon enough. But on the other hand, they may know who he is and go, yeah, well, he doesn't. Think to themselves, he doesn't have that good a reputation or whatever. I mean, the only thing that scared me about this guy is that his office is filthy.
Yeah, stay away.
And they're going to go. They're going to go shove a thing up my ass and take a biopsy in that atmosphere. In fact, my doctor who knows that office, I said, well, his place is kind of filthy, and he goes, yeah. And he said, so where's he going to do the biopsy? And I said, in his office. He says, really? That was my doctor's reaction. And most doctors can do these biopsies in their offices, but they're surgically clean offices,
Correct.
And this guy he doesn't wear a white jacket or anything like that. He's got his sleeves rolled up, and his desk is got all kinds of shit all over it. I mean, I think it's important if you're a doctor that the appearance that you have is very important. Sometimes if I go into a place and it's a little too nice, I begin to worry about that too. He's not.
You should have got the first indication when you saw the shrunken heads on a stick.
Yeah. It was not. So I mean, and Vernon agreed with me that I really probably shouldn't trust this doctor.
Well, you
Plus-
needed a second opinion, like you said, too.
Yeah.
Which I would definitely agree with you.
Well, with second opinions, I imagine, am I right? You can say to the doctor, "Well, I'd like to get rid of my old doctor. Could you be my doctor?" And
Yeah,
they'll kind of accept you, won't they? I mean, they don't do that on.
Neil Armstrong needed to do that.
Huh? What?
Neil Armstrong should have done that.
What do you mean?
Oh, is that?
He should have gotten a second opinion.
Why?
You didn't read that story about the family getting paid $6 million?
No.
Yeah, Neil Armstrong, that's when he died, it was doctor negligence. He went to a small-time hospital in Cincinnati.
Really?
And later, now they have experts all over the world who have chimed in and said, oh, we would have done it like this and like that. They shouldn't have done it like that. And so
20/20 hindsight.
Well,
Yep.
but what I'm asking, what I'm
should
asking
second
is,
opinion from an expert.
yeah, what I'm asking is just because you are going for a second opinion doesn't mean you can't say to him, "Well, listen, I'd really like to have you be my doctor," and he would probably accept me, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I
How do
did, and sometimes they're reluctant to do it, but you ask them again. I had that happen.
Why was he reluctant?
Well, because it was a situation with my situation. It was a situation where the first doctor screwed up, and he told me to go back and have my first doctor fix it.
Oh,
And
okay.
then I didn't want him to. I
Oh,
wanted
okay.
the second
But I mean,
doctor to fix it.
in my case, because I have this one doctor and I'm going for another opinion, I don't think he'd refuse being my doctor.
No, he would probably. You just ask him if you would take care of the situation and say, "I'd like you to take care of it for me. Will you do it?"
What do you mean, take care of it?
You want him to proceed with the procedure.
Oh,
or
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. But I mean, I'm sure he's not going to send me back to the other doctor because I don't want to go back to him.
No, you want a second opinion. Will you take care of it for me?
Yeah. What?
Can I say something?
What? Yeah.
When my mom had colon cancer, I could say that the first hospital we took her to was Presbyterian Jamaica,
Yeah.
and they were going to do the operation, Alex. They wanted to keep her there to do it. So my sister and brother and me said, listen, we're getting a second opinion. What the doctors there wanted to do, if they would have did the operation, he explained to my brother that she would have had a bag for the rest of her life. So my brother's like, you're not cutting my mother up without getting a second opinion. So my sister knew somebody in Sloan, so she got her in to see her doctor. And they did the operation there, no bag. He did it. If we would have kept her there, she would have had the colostomy bag the rest of her life. So you got to get the second opinion.
Yep.
They're ready to go into her the following week. They asked my brother's like, you're not touching my mother yet. We got all her records and we got her the hell out of there.
But what I'm saying is the second opinion people. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Jeff is here. I'm looking for Jeff.
Most good doctors will respect a second opinion.
Yeah.
Most doctors will respect it with a second opinion.
Yes, a good doctor will respect a second opinion.
What do you mean, the doctor you're trying to get away from?
The original doctor and the second opinion doctor will both respect that.
A second opinion, yeah. And if I
Yep.
say to my second opinion
If
doctor,
they're good doctors.
well, I like what you're saying, and I feel confident, more confidence in you than I do in my doctor. Will you be my doctor? He'll say, okay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't worry that I'm then going to be without a doctor because I ain't going back to the
Oh, hell no.
My
Hell
mother was
no.
like that too.
No.
So they
Not
will.
at all.
Yeah. So they will. He will take me on. Okay. Well, I mean, I don't want him to tell me anything but what he thinks is. If he says I need a biopsy, then we go do it.
Yeah,
But I don't want to do it in this other doctor's office because I said last night. When I thought about it, I know what a back alley abortion must feel like.
So you have a good sense, but you have a good sense there. Say if I was in a doctor's office and you were there with me, you'd probably tell me, hey, listen, Tony, I'm getting a bad vibe from this guy. You got to get another opinion.
Well,
So
Yeah,
you
at the end
gotta
of the
trust
day,
your
go with your
instinct,
gut.
too.
my
If
wife,
this-
my wife
if
who went,
this
who my
second
wife,
opinion doctor,
my wife who went with me the other day, said, I don't like this place, and I don't like
There
this
you go.
doctor. I don't
That's
like
all you
what
need
I'm
to know.
seeing.
And
It's
you
just-
know what, Alex? I'll
Mhm.
tell you what. That's a good feeling too when your wife is there and she don't have a good feeling about it. Because my wife was there during my situation and she picked out most of the stuff.
Okay. Do you want to know what the worst part is about this doctor? The
he's a
worst
Trump
part?
supporter.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
I figured it.
But I didn't argue with him because you don't argue with somebody who sticks his finger up your ass.
That's right.
You just it's okay, thank you. It's your opinion. And I just want to, and that doesn't. It also doesn't tone how I feel about the doctor. I mean, if he's a good doctor, hell, I don't care if you voted for Trump. If you saved my life, you saved my life.
That's true. I wouldn't
That's
care
right.
about that.
You know. So,
He's good.
I mean, that's, and I'm sorry, folks, if once again we're talking about this shit, but, it's preoccupying me, and that's the way it goes. Jeff and I and his lovely wife, Pamela, and Marjorie are going to have lunch on, Sunday, right?
That's right.
That's right. They're coming into the city, and we're going to spend a little time together, which is nice. You can plan on me talking about this to you. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. We'll do therapy too.
We'll do therapy. Everybody tells me, don't worry about this. Kevin wrote me and he said, look, this procedure these days is quite solvable.
Yeah, I think
The worst part is not knowing.
Yeah.
Once you know,
It's fun to be scared.
Yeah.
I mean, I get
And
scared.
Vernon told me, he went through 9 weeks of radiation. I've heard it's more like 7, it could be 6. There are some faster versions of the same thing. All I can think of, here's me, okay, is if I have to go for 9 weeks, say up to Mount Sinai, which is where they probably do it for me because he's associated with Mount Sinai, and I'm closest to Mount Sinai, I would take a cab up there. And every day it would cost me at least $15. So every week I'm going to be spending like $75 to go get radiated for 9 weeks. But I figure it's there's no insurance for that, by the way.
You'll be glowing.
Yeah, well,
But it's the good kind of radiation, Alex.
yeah,
hey, it's worth it if you're doing it to get yourself healthy, because I drove over 90 miles one way to go to the doctor I wanted to go to.
yeah.
From where I live here all the way up to Oakland.
And by the way, Kevin said that he had an elevated PSA, I guess, and they gave you a biopsy, and they gave
Twice.
you another one the next year,
I'm avoiding.
No, it wasn't
I'm
the next year,
completely
but it was a
avoiding.
few years later.
a few years
They
later.
just watch it.
Why?
Yeah.
Because
5 years later.
your PSA didn't go down, right?
It went down and then it went back up.
Yeah. So
I'm completely avoiding the issue.
Huh? What?
I'm just avoiding it because I know, like 5 or 6 years ago, I had a, doctor tell me I had to do X, Y, Z, and I was on some pill, but it made me very anxious. I didn't like the pill. I just stopped it. Now, I probably still have the issue, but I just don't. I'm just avoiding it.
Well, I don't know. I think, as much as we like to think that medicine is this wonderful science, and boy, doctors really know what they're doing, I think they're as mystified as anybody else. I don't get the feeling of great confidence in the medical industry.
Yeah.
And that they're, I think if I were to come back 50 years from now and look at the situation with prostate cancer, everybody will be laughing at PSA tests like it was some witch doctor rattling bones,
Yeah.
because here's a test that they say, well, if your PSA goes up, you might have cancer. What's the chance of the cancer? Well, about 8%. What? 8%? So what you're saying is that you're relying on a test that's largely false because once in a while it's right. It's kind of like
False positive. Yeah.
yeah, it's like a stopped clock. Twice a day, it's right. People who go and do the biopsies, 92% of all biopsies come out either nothing or a very localized, slow-growing cancer. All right.
That's what my mom had. Yeah.
Yeah, and so there's a question of all this doing something that's unnecessary, but also putting people in a state of mind that terrorizes them, which this has with me. I mean, I can't tell you what knowing about this has done to me. Also, maybe I could have gotten it a little faster, but my doctor said I'm on vacation for 10 days, so we'll do it in a month.
I mean, wow.
Same thing they did to me.
Yeah.
And then you got to wait for the results.
Yeah, yeah. And and I asked my doctor, my regular physician, I said, if I wait a while to get this thing, if I shop around for doctors and try and find the right doctor, am I risking my life by doing that? And he says, absolutely not. He said,
No.
I've seen guys with this. It's slow growing. Don't worry about it. You know, but
Yeah, because worrying could make it worse.
what?
If you worry about it, you're going to stress make it worse.
Oh, I'm sure, but how do I not stress about it? I'm me, you know.
Yeah.
I'm
and the other thing was that I was complaining about being tired and all that stuff, you know, the old man stuff. I was getting tired and everything else. And the first thing my other doctor wants to do is start shooting me with testosterone. So I started taking testosterone, and well, I go to my urologist, and he says, "Holy crap, your PSA has gone shooting through the roof."
Is that how you got that beard?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I turned
no
white. Yeah.
testosterone.
It fires everything out.
Prostate cancer feeds on testosterone.
Yes,
That's
it
why-
fires everything back up.
That's why
So
we're
they
one
had
of
to
the
stop that.
Yeah.
Now I'm feeling tired all the time again, and you know, I haven't gone to my urologist for a while. Like Bree says, I'm trying to avoid it, but I know I got to go.
Yeah, but
And so,
Just avoid it.
yeah, it's all crazy. It's all crazy. But
yeah,
anyway,
so I'll probably go and it'll be fine, but I'll still be tired.
yeah. Well, we just should call this Alex's waiting room. You know, we can
Next.
read the magazine. Oh, this other doctor, by the way, also average waiting time when you get to him. I always get places on time. Show up on time is about an hour. You know. Now I don't mind that the guy likes to spend time being good with his patients, but I just think he overbooks. You know, and
Oh, my
Sopranos.
doctor up in Oakland, we used to get there for a 10 o'clock appointment, and we were lucky if we saw him by 2 o'clock.
what?
Oh yeah,
Wow.
lucky.
I would get up and walk out and say, "Fuck you! I'm never coming
Oh
back
no,
here
oh
again."
no, this guy was the best, and I would wait.
See, some of these guys think they're Jesus Christ, these doctors.
But this guy was.
You remember
He
that
fixed
scene
me.
in The Sopranos?
He fixed me.
Well, yeah, what scene in The Sopranos, Bree?
Where Tony, his Uncle Junior needs to like have a doctor call him back, and the doctor never calls him back. So Tony goes out to the golf course, pays him a visit, and all of a sudden he calls him back.
Yeah,
Okay.
that would be like every
Somebody
doctor.
else, man.
Maybe that's what I need. I still never
I'm
heard
trying to
back.
remember the last time a
Let
doctor
Phil
called me
put
back.
pressure on.
I still never heard back from what's the big cancer hospital here in town? Sloan Kettering. They never got back to me, even though they said they would get back to me. Because one of the reasons I think they just weren't interested is I have not been diagnosed with cancer.
Oh, yeah.
My doctor thinks I might
know
have
the
cancer,
truth.
but I haven't been diagnosed with it. And they don't want to hear from people who haven't been diagnosed with cancer because the sign on the wall says Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. You know?
A woman that answered the phone heard your show.
Yeah.
That's why she's not calling back.
You know, but I just, it's
It's unnerving. It's unnerving.
It is. It's very unnerving.
Yes.
I mean, I would be a nervous wreck. I wouldn't be sleeping, me. I'd be
Well,
up all night.
Well, once you get a path
like
and
the-
you figure out what's going on, then it's a little better. But you know, it's
Well,
just getting there.
You know, if I knew that I had to have some kind of radiation, like Vernon, then let's do it. Vernon has been cancer-free now for what, 8 years, Vernon?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vernon, did you look into that that other kind of radiation that's like a pinpoint radiation that David Hajek got? It's called proton therapy.
Yeah, I was reading that in Sloan. I was
Well,
telling you
it
about.
wasn't around back then. It wasn't.
exactly.
Proton therapy wasn't around back then.
Of course, we
As a
haven't
matter of
heard from
fact,
David Hajek, so we don't know how well it
the
worked.
Proton torpedo.
You know.
They do that
Well,
in Sloan, Vernon. I was reading.
My second opinion said that it was they don't have as much results on it, and they're afraid maybe it would come back. For instance, Marjorie had a friend that had the seeds, the radioactive seeds. I couldn't get that because my prostate was too large. But didn't Marjorie's friend get the seeds? Cancer went away, and then it came back, and it killed him.
Yeah.
Because it came back much faster.
Yeah.
I know
Yes,
somebody
Jeff.
who I know somebody who used to work for me, and he used the seeds.
It's the Baki or something.
Yeah.
And it's been, I would say, at least 10 years, and he's still doing fine. So
Really?
Yeah,
And
Rudy
he's in his
Giuliani.
80s.
Rudy Giuliani had the seeds.
Well, I couldn't get the seeds, but when I heard about Marjorie's friend, I said, well, and when the doctor
just
said
because somebody
that
got
could happen,
Phil, just because somebody got the seeds and then died later on doesn't mean that that's the usual case of things, you know.
No,
He
but
could've got
my second opinion doctor said that that's a possibility with the proton therapy because they don't know, like with the seeds, sometimes it comes back, especially with the seeds. Not always, but sometimes. And they said they don't have enough data on the proton
If it
therapy
comes back,
yet.
then you take the prostate out.
I don't know that you can.
What? It's
I-
it's welded in there once you use the seeds, you know.
No, I'm not sure if the spread of the cancer, I don't know. I would think that they have to give you chemo.
At the end of the day, anything can happen to anybody.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee.
Well, we've lost a lot of people listening to this program because we're not talking about upbeat stuff. So, fuck all of you out there. You know, maybe I should turn off the video feed.
Let's talk about the death penalty. Did you hear about that?
Well, yeah, we mentioned this last night. Go
How
ahead.
about the wall? They're going to get the billions to build 100 more miles. Supreme Court.
Come on, Trump wins.
All the Supreme Court said, Phil, was that the people who brought that lawsuit did not have a standing. That's all that was.
Well, they're going to release the money.
you're
Well,
listening
they
to
said
Mr.
they
Bush.
said that they had no standing to tell them they couldn't transfer the money.
And who was that? Was it a
Sierra
state?
Club. Sierra Club.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I didn't hear about this development. So the Supreme Court said
They ruled in Trump's favor, but they're also
They
saying there may be more lawsuits.
They dismissed the lawsuit without signatures, saying that the plaintiff did not have standing to bring the lawsuit in the first place.
I
Wait a minute,
see.
it was
Okay,
5 to
so
4.
wait a minute. So
It was 5-4, but there was no signature.
in other words, what you're saying is it wasn't a ruling; it was a refusal to take the case.
But how come they're going to allow Trump to transfer the money? Is what they said.
You know, Trump.
All that means is that
Hey,
Trump
listen. Trump can add to the national debt all he wants.
He's just taking it from money already allocated for the starving kids in China.
No, he's taking it from military bases that need to have buildings repaired.
Yeah, or the starving kids.
Oh, he's taking food from their poor mouths.
Well, one of the places they're taking it from is Fort Campbell, Kentucky, which is right near me. And there was a school that was going to be fixed up with some of that money that he's now not going to get.
You should have let him build the wall before he needed the money.
The wall's a waste of time, Phil.
A waste of money too.
Yeah. So, anyway, he's going to be able to build. How much can he build for $1 billion?
It's more than $1 billion, and it said 100 miles.
100 miles, yeah.
And there was a Homeland Security website that says that they've repaired or built 52 miles so far.
What a waste of fucking money, huh?
That was money already allocated for that purpose, though.
What?
repairs.
To repair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So he's going to get to build it. Wow. He must be
Well,
so happy.
so far he might get another
Well,
lawsuit.
To me, this just reinforces the concept that the current administration are just a bunch of mean bastards. They're bringing back the death penalty for one reason and one reason only, and that's so they can look macho.
Really? Okay. Wow.
That's just my opinion.
Well, no, I think that they're
Timothy McVeigh shouldn't die. He's one of the ones that's going to be put to death.
Timothy McVeigh is going to be put to
already
death.
been
They killed him, I think.
Phil, Timothy. Let me get this straight.
McVeigh.
Timothy McVeigh is going to be put to death.
I heard that on the news.
Yeah.
that,
Do you know who Timothy McVeigh was, Phil?
Yeah, he was the guy that blew up the Morrow building
Do
in
you know
Oklahoma
what?
City.
Do you know what the current situation is with Timothy McVeigh?
No, but the news said
Would somebody
that he was
care
one
to
of the
tell
ones.
Phil? I
He's
think
dead
He's
already.
dead.
he's dead. Phil, he was executed.
I remember
Oh.
that.
When?
A while ago. He's been gone about 8 years at least, okay?
So he's not going to call the show anymore?
No. Making bombs in heaven. To blow up a fucking cloud. Come on, Timothy.
Well,
He better be in hell. if
why
he
did
can
they
help.
say that he was one of the ones that was going to get executed?
Well, whatever source you got was wrong, Phil.
Yeah.
Oh, time to drink again?
I know that's shocking.
Time for a drink.
Yeah.
The time for a drink is right. Yeah.
Hey, is this clean enough?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyway, it's what can I say? Phil, this was a big drinking night for any of you who want to believe, who want to drink when Phil is wrong.
Timothy McVeigh is dead? Oh, God.
Yeah,
He was
Phil.
so young.
Yep, Phil. Wow, you're really.
I
You're
thought
really,
you made a good point the other night when you said that the pro-life Republicans want to put everybody to death now.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
I thought they were releasing 3,000 people from jail, and 56 of them were murderers, and 900.
Oh, that's your president.
Yeah. Well, he's given them a chance,
There you go.
to get back out into society. Maybe they
Him
want to
and
sell carpet.
Kardashian.
Yeah. If they want to sell carpet, then I welcome it.
Well, to me, that the whole thing about the death penalty is there's such bullshit. People who advocate for the death penalty say that one of the reasons they advocate for the death penalty is that it's a deterrent. Well, guess what? We're at an all-time low on murder statistics in this country without the death penalty for the last 8 years. So explain that.
He's going to fix that.
It's never been a deterrent.
Nope.
They're going to do it if they do it.
They think they can get away with it.
They always think they can get away with it.
Yeah.
Criminally insane.
There was 16 or 18 Marines that were bringing, for $3,000 a piece, they were bringing illegal aliens across the border down in San Diego area.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they thought that they could get away with it? That they'd never get caught, that nobody would say anything out of 18 people that got arrested? That's the criminal mentality. People think that it'll never be them. I can kill this guy and I'll get away with it. It's the other guy that'll go to the death chamber.
Weren't there some also some Marines in I think it was Syria who were just arrested
I
and
forgot
sent
what
back
that
to the
was
United States for raping people?
There was, I know that the 18 of them in San Diego are going to be tried, but that was for smuggling. I don't. There was a SEAL team that was sent home. A Navy SEAL team. I think 17 guys. And does anybody know why they were?
They were accused of rape.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. This is really going too far with Trump giving a sense of permission.
I don't know that it's Trump's fault that people would do
Everything
things like
is
that.
Trump's fault.
You got to be able to make your own decisions and be responsible for the decisions that you
what
make.
What morning are you going to wake up, Phil, and realize that Trump is an asshole who's literally ruining this country?
No, I'm not a victim, and I have a choice as to which direction I go, the things I do and don't do, and whether I think they're right and wrong. And so does everybody else, and you can't blame it on Trump.
Oh, I can't?
No.
I'll blame everything on Trump.
Of course.
He used to blame everything on Obama.
Yeah.
Yeah, he blames everything on other people.
Well,
I'm so sick of him trying to somehow get even with Obama because Obama ribbed him at a correspondence dinner, which is what you do. You know,
Trump doesn't have a
he won't
sense
go
of
to the Trump. He won't go to the correspondence dinners for a very simple reason. He doesn't want to be joked about. He takes
doesn't
himself.
like the fake
He takes
news.
himself way too seriously.
Yeah, you're right about that. He does, Phil. He takes himself too serious. He
Yeah,
doesn't
but
let.
he doesn't like those people. It's like my high school reunion. I don't like those
He
people.
doesn't
I'm not
like
going
them
back
because
there.
his dislike comes out of the fear that they're going to kid him. You know, and now he can't show up because he's been so daunting against the press that that he's going to be in a room that's hostile to him. Before, they would have been just jovial and wanting to make jokes about him, just like they made big ribbing jokes about Obama when he was president. That's what the nature of the dinner is. It's an evening of good spirits and making fun of each other. But you've got a president who has absolutely nothing in his mind that says, I can be made fun of.
I think they should rent the conference center over at the golf course in New Jersey, and then you'll have to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Only if they have a wedding. And he
Or
went into
Mar-Lago.
some people in New Jersey that were getting married, and they were hoping that he was going to come. They sent him like 200 invitations, and the gal and the guy, they had such New Jersey accents. I mean, it was like watching The Sopranos. It was pretty good.
Where the fuck is the dessert? Dropping F-bombs.
Yeah.
Don't seal the envelopes. If it's a bad wedding, take the money out.
Real estate agent.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like it. Some of these real estate agents are really rude. You know, I'm like asking about this. I got to go here in a minute or two, Alex. But like I'm asking about this property and inquiring, and the first thing that he's like, which country are you from? You know, and he's like, deposit, 2-month deposit, advance rental, tenancy agreement, cash, no problem, right? And it's like the first thing I would want to know is, how are you doing, and welcome, and what kind of thing you're looking for? Do you think this is not? Can you afford it? You know.
Well,
So-
that's called qualifying the customer, but
They can
certainly
ask
doesn't-
those questions over there, huh?
Yeah, I said good day. Forget it. It's not for us because I want a person who cares about, asking about what my requirements are, not what he's getting from it immediately.
Hey, Bree, does your employer recommend maybe a realtor that you could work with?
It's pronounced
They did,
realtor,
but
Phil.
To tell you the truth, she is really bad because she basically says, okay, there's a couple of expensive high rises right next to here, so you want to go there, right? Well, I'd like to look around and see what. Oh, I'll get back to you. Yeah, thanks a lot. I'm a little busy. We'll message each other. So it's like either you take the expensive one next door, or I don't want to talk to you. That's kind
Hey,
of
let's do lunch. We'll do
Yeah.
lunch.
So it's really crazy. I've just been messaging like a million people. There are 2 main websites, and I just like, I'm interested in this, and then I just WhatsApp, and eventually, hopefully, something will come through. I'm going to look at 3 places today, and I'm starting to get stressed about it because I got to start work next week, and so not a fun thing. So Alex, I hope you figure out your rental thing and you stay there because I haven't had to rent in 13, 14 years because the company always paid for everything. So I never had to think about it. For 14 years, I haven't had to go through this process.
How come you didn't negotiate this time then?
Well,
with the
they
company?
don't do it. I get an allowance, a monthly allowance, and I did negotiate that. I got an extra $125, $150, per month. So I did negotiate a little bit, but now that I know the market better, I should have negotiated for $200-300 more. But they come back and they say, oh well, your boss is only getting this amount, so we can't give you more than what your boss is getting. So
But he rented 14 years ago.
So, Bree, is this a university that you're going to work for?
Yeah. It's education group.
Yeah.
Is it the Columbia School of Broadcasting?
I think it's the Gabnet School of Broadcasting.
It's crazy. I would prefer to have a house because I've been living in a high rise for kind of a high rise for a while. But the problem is no one can give me a straight answer as to whether or not it's a safe neighborhood. Some people say yes, some people say no, some people are in between. So it's like, okay.
Can you look up the crime stats or go to the local PD and ask them?
Well, you can look them up, but yeah, I thought about going there and asking them if I could find it. But again, I don't know if they're going to share that information. It's not like I can file a Freedom of Information Act.
Yeah.
So I suppose, what I thought I could do is I could get the landlord to agree to put in some, precautionary measures like motion detector lights in the front and back, and that kind of a thing, and a new lock on the gate, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's my plan. But yeah, and it's also crazy because the agents, you can never tell. Like, there are a couple of places that I've contacted, and one guy was showing it, but then I contacted and it's another woman who's showing it.
This is getting really dull.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I'm leaving.
I appreciate that you got problems with it, but basically you're talking about stuff that's involved in your situation, and there are not a lot of people it applies to out there.
Everybody's had to rent a place.
Yeah,
at one time or another.
you know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to insult you or anything like that.
I know.
That's not
I know what you're saying.
But it's just that. No, there are enough people listening. I mean, maybe go on with it. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I'm. It's been so long since I've had to
rent a place here. Phil asked me. It's about $800 to $1,000. You can get a decent place. If you're willing to spend $1,500 or $2,000, you can get an excellent place. And if you spend $3,000, you can have a whole house with a built-in pool.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Wow.
And do you have to pay the 1 year up front like Dubai or?
Yeah, here
it's month.
You have to pay first month's, last month's, and utilities, utility deposit. And but it's hard though because I just landed here, 3 days ago. It's not like I carry $5,000 cash on me, I have to, and then there's a whole bunch of other things like my daughter's schooling. I have to pay a deposit, enrollment fee, deposit, then half the tuition. So it's like that's kind of crazy. But I got myself into it. I thought, because the thing with Dubai was that they had extremely long notification periods to get out of contract. It was 6 months, and every 6 months. So there's twice a year, and if you missed one, then technically it's 6 plus 5. It's it's like almost 11 months if you miss it, or 9, I forget. Anyway, and I was done with there, and here it's just a 2-month period. So if I don't like it,
you can get out.
2 months I can get out.
Yeah.
But anyway, I gotta skedaddle.
Okay.
Because they're going to come in and clean the room.
Well,
and I've got to get
call us soon and let us see more of Kuala Lumpur.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, do it on your phone when you walk around. Show us the apartment you're looking at.
We're excited for you.
I think you'll be off by the time I get there. Because I got to get there at noon, and then I've got a couple of showings this afternoon. And but I'll let you know on.
Okay.
Let's see. Your Tuesday, my Wednesday.
Okay.
Of next week.
Anyway, we'll see you then.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Okay, that's our boy there. Okay. Anyway, we're back to 6 people here.
Our boy in Kuala Lumpur.
Yes.
That's right.
Kuala Lumpur. So anyway, what else is happening in the news? Is there anything really amazing? Because all they keep talking about is there's still, I may be wrong. I thought Charlie was here.
I'm here.
Oh, where are
He's
you?
here. Who said I'm not here?
Oh, I don't have your picture up. That's the reason why.
My picture's there.
Oh, there you are. Okay, there you are. I'm out of it tonight, just totally out of it, because the whole show started off fucked. I know that you're for impeachment,
Yep.
But I just think they should give up on it at this point. Just get on with making your case to the American public. And I don't think that it's going to help anything at this point. I mean, if you did this several years ago, you could call it a slap on the hand because he's not going to get thrown out of office because he'll go over to the Senate and those senators will be in lockstep. Okay.
So the president's above the law. Nixon was right.
Well, the president is above the law. Yes, get used to it.
It's a special pass.
Huh?
It's a special pass.
Oh yeah, it absolutely.
When you're president.
Yeah.
Now, if they try to impeach him, and it goes to the Senate and they vote it down, is there double jeopardy in impeachments? Can they try it again on his next term?
No, because he's not in any jeopardy of going to jail from impeachment. There's no double jeopardy there.
I'm not sure. I didn't know.
Well, I just think there was a problem with Ocasio-Cortez met with Nancy Pelosi today, and they tried to make nice. It doesn't seem like they exactly made nice though. It seems like they just decided to agree to disagree, and I think probably what Pelosi said to her was, listen, don't rattle the cage too much because we have to look united, and while I do appreciate what Ocasio-Cortez is doing, and I think it's needed because I think there needs to be a conversation within the Democratic Party about substance of the party. You don't want to do it to where everybody looks at this and goes, these people are what do you call it?
Partisans.
Partisans, it's just not, that's not right. So I just think that at this point, going after impeachment is only going to help Trump rather than hurt him.
Yeah.
And
go ahead and impeach.
Well, Connell's doesn't care anything about being looked at as partisan. O'Connell
about Mitch.
I know, but let me ask you this.
You're talking about Moscow Mitch, right?
Yeah.
It's about Moscow Mitch. Is that what you call him?
Yeah. They're calling him Moscow Mitch now.
Why do you call him that?
Well, because he's going along with everything that Trump has wanted to do with Putin and the Russians. Plus, he's negotiating a Russian oligarch bringing an aluminum plant to Kentucky.
And plus, he keeps fighting any kind of money going to shore up our election so the Russians can't hack in again.
Exactly. Yep.
He's blocked everything.
No, do you know what they wanted? They wanted paper ballots and
Sure, what's wrong with that?
Yeah, what's wrong with that? That's what we need.
Boondoggle.
No, it's not. In Kentucky, they still have paper backups, Phil. They use machines to count the ballots, but they got papers that they can go back and double check.
I believe in paper backups, but if we have paper ballots, it's not going to be.
It's a backup.
You let me finish, Phil.
Yeah.
Well, wait. But what you had to say was more important than I did. So go ahead.
I just said it's a backup. It's not the main ballot. The paper.
Well, I think we should all get purple ink on our fingers every time we vote.
Well, it's not the worst idea in the world. Yeah. Well, I'm waiting for Phil to talk because everything he says is so important. Go ahead, Phil.
Oh, I already did. I just said it's paper backup. You said I'm all in favor.
We had already said it was paper backup before you said it was paper backup.
Oh, so you're really quick on the trigger.
No, not me. Somebody else said it.
I said it.
Yeah. But apparently you only listen to yourself. Anyway, the point is that people say, paper ballots, that would solve the problem. It never solved the problem. We had rigged elections when there were paper ballots, except the paper ballots wound up in a lake somewhere. I mean, I don't think there's any sure way. If people want to scam voting, they're going to be able to do it, whether it's the Russians or whether it's Mitch McConnell.
We just shouldn't make it so easy for them with the internet connections.
Yeah, an 11-year-old couldn't dump a bunch of ballots in a river.
Well, you know, in a lot of ways, I would rather see us vote via computer
I would like that too.
because I think more people would vote. You know, and I think you can come up with systems. I mean, come on, don't we? I just can't
Can't we mail
believe.
in the votes already?
I,
we
I
can mail
can't.
them,
I
the
can't believe that a
absentee
company like Facebook, who has some of the best computer minds working their system and having helped create their system and all the things that it does and so on, somehow can't find a way to keep the Russians out. You know, it boggles my mind. You know, you can build virtually hack-proof systems, but nobody does.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
And so, am I supposed to feel sorry for Facebook? Am I supposed, you know? And I don't think Facebook is the only one guilty of this shit. I mean, all these guys, the business that Google is in, and the business that YouTube is in, and which is owned by Google, and the business that Facebook is in and Twitter are in, is only one thing, and that's selling data about you. That's the only thing they do for a living. That's how they make their money. You know,
They see how you search. When I go on Facebook, they show me comic books and movies because they know that's what I'm looking at.
Oh, absolutely.
I laugh and I said, "Look, they look at what I'm searching for. I'm reading on old movie books. They pop them on the side.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like Big Brother's watching.
Absolutely. So you know, I mean, but yeah, what?
Apple seems to do a damn good job with security. I mean, you never really hear about them getting hacked or anything. Why don't they get into it?
They got a small market share, though, really.
Yeah, but you know, they do a good job of keeping people out, it seems like.
Yeah.
Could it be, Alex, that their operating system is a closed system, though, where Microsoft is really open to everything?
Exactly, but that's the point.
Who's a closed system?
Apple really, a lot of people could really make differences. Like Windows is on a lot more machines, where Apple is more closed.
Well, plus they don't attack. They
Well,
don't go after it.
They don't
smaller
really let you put their operating
Yeah,
system.
but Apple is a different. But Tony, Apple is a different animal. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's a different animal altogether.
More people use Microsoft and all that.
I mean,
and it's a bigger target.
Apple is a hardware selling company who makes software for their hardware, and that's about it, you know. And things do get hacked occasionally, but it's not it's not like a Facebook that's like this open billboard that people put stuff on, and that you put your lives on, and that you're saying all the things like, today I'm getting my biopsy, and now somehow Facebook knows you're getting biopsies, and then all of a sudden cancer ads show up on the side of the page, you know. I mean, there's the reason. What they're selling, and the only thing they're selling, is information about you.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah.
It's kind of uncanny.
And it was bound to come back to bite them in the ass eventually.
Facebook's not the only one doing it, though. When I do browsing now on Home Depot's website, I get stuff popping up on the side that the last time I did a search on their website, this stuff starts popping up on the side.
Yeah. Big time. That's been going on for a while, Vern. I've seen that happen a lot.
All of your, I mean, if you even use something like Drudge, and you go to Drudge, and you've looked up something on Amazon, you'll see an ad for it on Drudge. I mean, it's you know, and I don't know how, you know, you could prevent this by saying, well, Facebook can't collect data on you, okay? Well, and Facebook would just close their doors because they can't make money. There's no way they can make money if they can't sell data about you, you know. So, I mean, that's the yes, Jeff.
I'm curious as to, does anybody here have a particular search vehicle that they prefer, that they've had good experience with, or whatever?
I'm trying a new one right now to take the place of Google, and it's called Brave, Brave.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find what the app's actually called. Yeah, it has a picture of a lion on it, and it'll do searches, but it blocks out ad. You know, if it's trying to grab ad information, it blocks it.
Well, it's a browser though too.
Yes.
Yeah.
With that lion, you sure it's not a Russian plant?
Huh?
You might be, Phil. My phone may be
Italian.
blowing up any moment now.
Yeah.
It's Roman.
Yeah, roaming.
Yeah. Block ads and trackers that follow you around. That's good. You know. Is it free?
Yes.
It is free. Are you sure? Because it says it's easy to support the YouTube channel. How do they know? They must be doing the same thing everybody else is doing. Brave Browser. Give the new Brave Browser a try, and we will contribute to Brave Browser on your behalf. So, I mean, is there money involved here somehow? Support your
They
favorite.
haven't asked me for my credit card.
Support your favorite sites by downloading Brave. This referral promo is capped at 5 million in tokens. What the fuck did I just bring up here? Is this it?
It's called the dark web.
No, it's not even the dark web. It's, you know.
He's going to get a virus.
Yeah, right. So,
You
you
have
know.
a picture of Phil on your computer later. Phil.
Right.
With a drink.
I told you not to click that. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. So I mean, but you know, your lives are there's a what do you call it? A thing on Netflix called The Hack, and it's all about this and how they collect information on you and how you're really a resource to them. You know.
Yeah, I saw that. I was going to watch that tonight, but I never.
And
never
the question is, do you want to do away with Facebook? Do you want to do away with Twitter? Do you want to do away with YouTube? I mean,
Yeah.
what
YouTube, no. Twitter, Facebook, I can do without.
you can live without them.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't.
But I use YouTube to watch you, Alex.
Well, of course, you know. I mean, and I use YouTube because they're the best there is. You know, for this.
I
sort of
thought you
thing.
used it because it was free.
Well, I use it because it's free too. But even if I had to pay for it, I actually might use it. It's that. I mean, tonight I had trouble getting on, and I don't know if it's this new piece of equipment, although I'm using it now to switch, and we're not having trouble getting onto the internet. I'll work on it over the weekend, but I'm not having trouble with YouTube at all now that it's plugged in and working. But for the most part, I mean, it could have been that YouTube was down tonight for a short time. That's always possible. But I've had very little trouble with YouTube. Facebook, I had trouble all the time. I'm having trouble with Facebook now because they have these thing called watch parties, and you used to be able to just click on something and create a watch party, and now you can't even do that. You have to go looking for it. You can't tell where anything is. Facebook is so badly arranged now that it's just this jungle to get through, where YouTube is pretty much an easy go, you know. So.
Yeah. Hey, the last season of Orange is the New Black is on.
Who cares?
I watched 1.5 episodes so far, season 7.
Why?
It's okay.
Why?
Well, because I watched the first 6 seasons, and it's something new. It's not bad. I like it.
Yeah.
Women in prison.
Women in
lesbians.
prison. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Oh, okay. You know, what is it that I watched? What I watched? I watched Veronica Mars, the new version of Veronica Mars. That was pretty
She
good.
in prison?
What? No, no. But she's cute. You know. I was talking to somebody today about in terms of who I vote for if there are women running. Is it still possible for me to say I'm going to vote for her because I'd fuck her? Is that possible? Can we do that anymore? Is that considered a no-no?
Not if you lose your prostate.
What? No. Phil, please don't bring that up. You know.
He's never going to get over it.
Huh?
I'll tell you what.
Lost his
Don't
pride.
mention it at lunch. on Sunday.
Don't mention what at lunch.
Yeah.
You're right, Joe. Which woman?
Yeah.
is the-
Oh, no, I wouldn't say that in polite company. No. Well, what is this?
Intimate the
No, but I was saying Kamala Harris, I said, I really like her politics, and I think she's, the Republicans have said, there are certain Republicans who have said that she's the one they're all worried about. She thinks she could be another Obama, that she could go up against Trump and really give him a bad time.
The only problem is they'll only vote for her in New York, Massachusetts, and California.
Well, but
And South Carolina, too.
No, that's the only place they'll vote for.
She's number 2 in the poll in South Carolina.
Yeah, but
Yeah, in the
but you
poll
let me
against
fit.
other
Oh,
Democrats.
Jesus, I can't get a
Yeah.
word in edgewise. God damn it.
A statistical tie with Trump in South Carolina.
All I'm saying is you don't know what it's going to be like until it's down to two people, Trump and somebody else, and then you'll know whether she has the stuff to do it. The fact is, I think she's very smart. I think her politics are in the right place, and I think she will go toe to toe with Trump and give him a bad time. You know, I don't think she's going to lie back and take it like Hillary Clinton did. I think Hillary could have won that election if the night that he started just following her around the room in the debate, if she just turned around and looked at him and said, "Sit down, this is creepy," she would have won the election.
Party tends to anoint who they want, and I think that Biden is going to wind up being given the nomination regardless of what happens.
He's calling him Sleepy Joe now. You see that?
Well, he's been doing that forever.
Yeah, long time.
Well, I mean, he should just turn around and start calling him Creepy Donald.
Joe should come up with a name for him.
Yeah.
Well, he's already got Creepy Joe for
the
Joe
fact
Biden.
that the fact that we're even talking about this shows you how low politics has gone in America. That that we're saying, oh, do you hear he's calling him Creepy Joe now? Oh, well, that's a big political move. I mean, that we're talking about that like it's normal. And the fact is that this man has made a mockery of the presidency. He does not respect it.
The same people calling Mitch McConnell Moscow Mitch are calling him Criminal Trump.
Really?
Because he's an unindicted co-conspirator in 2 different felonies.
Which ones?
One's against Michael Cohen.
Yeah.
He's an unindicted co-conspirator.
Oh, yes, you're right. You're right.
So calling him Criminal Trump. If he doesn't win this election, he'll probably go to jail.
Can somebody tell? Can you believe that he's getting away? Like, he comes up with these little nicknames, and you're right. It's like,
I mean,
like middle school.
is that what politics has become? I've always been the kind of person that goes, well, I don't believe in political correctness, and I try to do everything I can to be politically incorrect, like saying, hey, I'd fuck her, that sort of thing. But the fact of the matter is, the presidency is a hallowed institution in which what comes with it is a certain amount of dignity and respect for the office you're holding. You respect the job you have. And Trump has no respect for his job. Absolutely none whatsoever. And that's pathetic. So, I rest my case. Phil?
Yeah.
Hey, you said the same thing about Nixon.
I didn't. Never said that about. No, I never said that about Nixon.
You didn't protest Nixon?
I protested what he was doing, but I didn't say he didn't respect the office.
He never did stuff like that.
No matter how bad Nixon was, he respected the job. No, I would never deny him that for a moment.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Cleaning his weapon.
Assembling my 45.
Oh,
I had to fix it. You remember the part that broke?
Are you kidding?
I just changed it, and I had to disassemble. It's a Series 80, so I had to disassemble the extractor and the a firing pin.
Could we for a second see the see the gun? What are you doing?
So I am just oiling the moving parts and setting everything up for my shoot on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay?
Load up the slugs too.
45. Yeah, I got several. But
he's like the militia. Look at him.
Hey,
where's the pearl handle, Phil? Don't you have a pearl handled one?
It's walnut, American walnut.
He's so happy with his gun.
How many guns do you own?
6 or 7.
Wow.
I got. I'll go from the smallest to the largest. I got a 32 C Camp. I got a 38 2-inch snub nose Smith & Wesson. I've got 2 45 1911s. I got 2 45 Officers ACP 3.5-inch barrels. I got a Remington 700 pump shotgun. I got a 30-06 Remington EDL. And I got a 12-gauge single shot thing that I've never used.
That sounded like
10.
more than 6 or 7.
That's more than 6 or 7.
I haven't looked in a while, but that's what I got.
And if you still had your penis,
You can't blow
I
it.
do. It's right here.
That would be 11.
I got the penis. All I need is a Porsche.
I don't know.
Oh, and I changed the firing pin spring, too.
Thank you.
I mean, guns even scare me with you just holding it up there and you're, I don't know how many thousands of miles away, you know? It scares me.
Yeah?
Guns scare me, yeah.
Yeah, I never liked the gun.
Yeah.
What should scare you is the color of these gloves that I used to.
Oh my God, it's like, oh, yeah.
What are the gloves for?
So I don't get this crap, this stuff called Hockey's number 9, and the oil all over my fingers.
You mean you're cleaning guns on the program tonight while you're there doing what you're doing?
You know, hey, you notice I haven't been talking over you too much, you know?
No, you haven't. That's for damn
It's kept
sure.
him occupied at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the new extractor comes with a sticker.
Wow.
What is it?
Wilson Combat. Yeah.
Don't put that on your little notebook for tomorrow.
No, I'm going to put it on the back of my car to scare liberals.
This car is protected.
So we
by
know when Phil's quiet, he's playing with his 3-inch.
Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you.
3-inch snub.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good one, Kevin.
Yeah. But anyway, let me see here. Otherwise, there's no real news. They got these guys up in Canada. They're chasing these 2 guys.
Are they killers?
They're accused of being killers, Phil.
Oh, well, they got the right to be accused, not like Trump, who's a felon.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He's an unindicted co-conspirator. He's not a felon until he's convicted.
Ah. All right.
February 21st.
Hmm? What?
But he can't be indicted until he's out of office.
Yeah. I mean, this is just, this is, it's amazing. What can I say?
This is the broken extractor.
Nowhere in the Constitution does it say you cannot indict a sitting president. It's not in the Constitution anywhere. That's a bullshit policy.
Well, it's from the office of the OLU, I think.
OLC, Office of Legal Counsel.
Well,
Legal counsel.
Charlie, you're still for impeachment, right? Even at this
If
point.
you're gonna be throwing all these black kids in prison for stealing a loaf of bread, you ought to be able to do Trump in prison.
I'm for impeachment too, but it's Nadler, Pelosi, and
What and what
Schindler's
for?
List.
And what for? What criminal?
have they done?
What have they done?
They're
Phil?
mean people.
What are you
Oh,
talking
and
about?
and Trump isn't.
is
Trump
a hater
isn't.
in
There
chief.
is nobody meaner than Trump.
Nah, these guys are mean. You look at Nadler. There used to be a gin commercial where these little things had umbrellas and they were floating all over the place. You ever see that one?
No.
No?
Mm.
All right. Well, Nadler looks just like the guy.
Like an umbrella drink?
Yeah.
Nadler's actually starting to lean more towards bringing articles, impeachment investigation to the floor.
They already have, didn't they? Isn't that what he said
No.
today?
No, he wants to start an impeachment inquiry.
Yeah.
And the reason is he thinks that it will actually give them more credence when they try to go after some of this material that the Justice Department is withholding from them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll see if they get as much out of the impeachment hearings as they did Mueller. I don't think it'll go so well.
Really?
You know,
Well,
Mueller.
the thing I heard about the Mueller hearings that, was almost expected is that all it did was reinforce the bias that other people already had. It just confirmation bias. That's all.
You know
it
who
was.
Lawrence Tribe is?
Yep.
All right. Did you hear what he wrote on Twitter about the Mueller investigation? Oh, not Mueller, the Mueller testimony.
No.
No.
Didn't do that.
I can't quote it exactly. I was hoping one of you could.
I don't look at Twitter.
Well, it was on the news. And he was saying how poor a job Mueller did, and that it was really a plus for the Republicans.
He actually did a better
testimony.
job at the Intelligence Committee than he did at the Judiciary Committee. He did a much better job there. But part of the reason for that was because of Schiff did a much better job of questioning than Nadler did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think also it looks to me like he didn't look too well to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, health-wise.
Health-wise, he did not look well. So I mean, what can we say? So,
you didn't hear too much of him during the investigation, and maybe this.
I want to hear from
maybe
Aaron
that's why.
Zebley. I want to hear from his assistant, Aaron Zebley.
why? What is it? What do you think he would have, Vernon?
I think he knew a whole lot more about the day-to-day, what was going on, and about the writing of the report than Mueller did himself.
Mm-hmm.
Zebley was essentially the guy running the day-to-day investigations.
Well, I think we're probably. It's just. I just think that all we're doing is we're feeding into Trump at this point. I think that if we were to start an impeachment investigation right now, and then eventually come up with an impeachment, I don't even know if we'd be able to get it done by the time of Election Day. So what does it do? It just fuels the fire. It gives him more to complain about. You can do more of this phony press shit. You can do the stuff about witch hunts and blah blah blah. And oh, poor me. Yes,
That's
Jeff.
exactly
Did you have
that's exactly what Nancy Pelosi is saying. What you're saying, Alex?
Yeah. She's basically saying the same thing that I'm saying. That and I think her reasoning is she's been down this road before. She's seen. I think she was around. Wasn't she around for the Clinton thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think she saw how it came to nothing. It wasted a lot of time and money. By the time it got to the Senate, it was a fait accompli that he wasn't going to get convicted, and.
Took over the House, took over the Senate.
What we've got here is
the presidency in 2000.
But I think what she's saying is quit wasting time pursuing impeachment. Spend more time pursuing the presidency.
Rally the troops, get everybody together, and just get him out that way.
And that you can do all of this by making a case. It's not impossible to make a case for this, for a kinder, gentler country. That you're going to bring the country back together. You're going to unite them, and we'll be more civil. Have a more civil discourse with each other, and hit that kind of thing, and don't even go after Trump. You don't even have to mention Trump's name. Say what you're going to do. I don't think when Obama was running, I don't think he ran against somebody. He was running for the presidency, and I think that's what you've got to do. But what if you, for instance, get Biden? Biden's going to spend his whole time doing Trump this, Trump that, Trump this, Trump that, anti-Trump, Trump should shut up. You really need somebody who's going to get there and say, forget it. I'm not talking about Trump. I'm telling you about me and what I can do for you and what I can do for this country. And I think, you would start getting some people going, hey,
Yeah, but we still got to not lose sight of the fact that Mitch McConnell is still in charge of the Senate. Mm-hmm. And if that isn't changed, it doesn't matter who the Democrats elect to be president. They're going to stonewall him just like they did Obama.
Right. Come up with some bullshit rule about how we can't let the president appoint a Supreme Court justice in his first year. That's not allowed.
Yeah, or his last year.
Yeah.
Or the middle 2 years either.
Yeah. That's what I find frustrating about this billionaire Tom Steyer, who's been advocating for impeaching Trump. I think he should spend his money now trying to get more Democrats elected to the Senate and drop out of the presidential race. He's got no chance in hell. Yeah. Just spend that money instead, trying to elect as many Democrats to as many places as he can, and shut up about the presidency.
Yep. Yeah. Well, his whole thing is let's get rid of Trump. Let's impeach Trump, and I think that's. Somebody said Steyer would be better off if instead of going after Trump and trying to make a case for getting money. Rather getting Trump out of office and spending all this money for impeachment, if he would just spend the money supporting candidates and supporting Senate races. Now. Huh?
Steyer is asking for money. He wants $1.
Asking for money. He wants it for his own presidential campaign.
Yeah,
though.
And he says he doesn't want to ask the corporations, so he wants the people to send him $1 each.
Well, and Steyer will come up with about $15, but I don't feel.
I would send him $10 if he would drop out of the presidential race and decide he's going to start supporting people for the Senate.
How do you think he became a billionaire?
The same thing with the governor of Montana. He's got no business running for president, but he could probably win the Senate.
How about de Blasio?
De Blasio's a waste of time too.
I don't know why de Blasio was doing it.
Because if he went back to New York, the cops would turn on him for.
No. He's in New York doing his job. I see him on TV every day. He's at the Gracie Mansion and down at City Hall. He's here. He's doing his job.
It's a green screen.
What? Yeah.
It's green screen.
Yeah,
he's hiding in Montana.
No, but
a lot of candidates in that basket aren't supposed to be there,
listen,
and they won't be very long.
De Blasio is a total loser who says things I believe. That's the trouble with him. He's a great spokesman for what I believe, but he's a terrible, terrible mayor, and he's a terrible politician and not a particularly nice person, so what have you,
I could name several people who are running for president right now that I would like to see him switch over. Beto, Julian Castro, and I'd like to see Stacey Abrams run for the seat in Georgia.
Yeah. Who knows? Well, what are we going to do about it?
What do you think of Andrew Yang?
Nothing.
Andrew Yang is kind of a kook. I mean, he's got some good ideas though, because one of the things he said was that eventually we're going to have to deal with the fact that so many jobs are going to be lost to automation, and we're seeing that now. Look at retail jobs.
You know why
we only have one cashier on duty, plus somebody who was running the self checkouts at Home Depot today, and one cashier.
You know why I like him?
Yep.
Because I don't agree with him, but I think he thinks outside the box. He's thinking for the future, and maybe it just takes some different thought to do things. If you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, nothing's going to change.
And that's why you voted for Trump.
One of his core principles,
hey, listen,
you would call communism, Phil. He wants to have a guaranteed minimum income.
Progressive, Phil?
That'll never happen.
There's a theme playing here, so I got to get out of here. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. We have, let's see here, Charlie Wallace. Thank you, Charlie. And we had Bree from now Kuala Lumpur. Vernon, thank you. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Jeff. I'll see you on Sunday. And thank you, Tony. You guys are all terrific. What I'd like you to do is give a big round of applause, round of waving goodbye, not applause, wave goodbye to everybody out there, and I'll wave back at you. There we go. Okay, that's it. That's our citizen panel for tonight, and that's our citizen panel for this week. Next up, it's Jack Bishop and the Intersection over most of this same GabNet. We would love it if you come see us again next week. We'll be on let's see here, what day are we on? We're on Tuesday. We'll be here. We would be after Damien, but Damien still got the week off. But in the meantime, I'll see you at 10 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. Same time, same station in life. And in the meantime, if you see her, tell her I love her, okay? Bye-bye.